Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. I am sitting this afternoon at the Espresso Bar, not in the secret garden because apparently I've talked about it too many times on the show. It's no longer a secret and it was full back there. There were people sitting enjoying the secret garden all over the place. So we decided to come out front and record the show today. I'm sitting with Patricia Brewer and Mandy Foxley. We're going to talk today about the Out of the Darkness Community Walk. It's happening on Saturday, October 11th at Sharando Park, and I'm sure people are going, wait, Out of the Dark, where's Winter? What's happening with Winter? So, Mandy, I'm going to start with you because you and Winter have changed roles a little bit.
Winter started this. She has championed this for 10 years now, and she's a grandma, and she has family nearby, and she wanted to spend some more time with them, so she's not out of the picture at all. She stepped back into one of our lead volunteer roles and asked me if I would step up to be one of the co-chairs for the event this year. So she's still there. She's still very much involved. She's going to be there that day. So if you come out that day, you will still see her. She's not going anywhere. We won't let her go anywhere.
Right.
She means too much to this walk and to this organization as a whole for us to let her go too far.
So Patricia Brewer is your co-chair. Does it make it easier that there's two of you?
I think so, because there is so much going on and so much that we try to plan and try to get done from, I think we started in March with meetings and planning and events. It's just easier when there's two to bounce ideas on, and when something comes up and we're like, okay, how do I do this? I've got Mandy, I've got Winter too, and then the rest of our committee also to go, okay, what do we need to do? How do we need to do it?
And we really rely on each other's strengths in that way too. Not just the two of us, but like with the whole committee. Our last event that we had, we didn't do anything for it.
Oh,
One of our
nice.
committee members said, hey, I go to this tattoo parlor. I talked to them while I was in there last time. They want to do an event for a fundraiser for us at this tattoo parlor. And we just sat back and said, okay, go ahead. And she planned the whole thing with them. We had an event that actually we didn't even get to advertise because it filled up before we even got to advertise it.
Those are the best kind of fundraisers.
It was wonderful. We just showed up, we stuck our arm out, they put tattoos on our arms, and we were able to go home after that if we wanted to, and then they gave us money at the end of the day. So it was great.
Right? That couldn't have been a more perfect fundraiser ever.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you fast forward to the walk that needs volunteers, it needs vendors, you need stuff. There's so much.
There's a lot of moving parts for it, yes.
Give me the details. I'm going to ask you first, Patricia. When is it? Where is it? Give me the logistics of the event itself.
Okay, the walk is October 11th. Registration, if you haven't already registered, starts at 9 at Sharando High School at the football stadium. We have an hour or so for registration for people to get there, to take a look at the vendors. We're going to have a kids zone. We're going to have what we call a glimmer station, and just a lot going on before the walk. And then the walk itself starts at 10. It starts at the high school in the football field, goes out into the park, and then comes back in to the high school football field.
It's not a crazy long walk either, so anyone really could participate in this walk. It's not 14 miles, it's not like a marathon. You go at your own pace, more or less, right?
And one of the things that we've also done in some of the events we've been at, we've heard from folks that, well, I can't walk that far. Or maybe when I go out to the park and the terrain's not steady, I can't do, okay, that's fine. You can still come. We're not going to tell you you're not allowed to come to our event. We want everyone to be there. You can walk the track around the football field. We have folks on our committee that's what they do. They can't do the entire walk. So we've told them, you'll have a team of people right there with you that'll do that. Or if you just want to come and sit, there's enough that you can do, that you can see. There'll be people to talk to, all of that, that the walk's not that long. So it's not like you're going to be waiting for 4 hours. Like you said, it's not even 2 miles. It's not even a 5K. We can't call it a 5K because we don't even do a 5K. So you're welcome to come even if the mobility in that is a concern for you.
And it's such a beautiful walk when you get into the park because you go down around the lake, I understand, and it's just such a meaningful way to be able to show support for family members, for friends, or just your community as a whole.
Yeah, we make a really big point here at our little walk. I like to refer to it as, because we are actually one of the largest ones in the state of Virginia.
Get out.
Last year, for our 10th anniversary, we had over 500 people register to come to do the walk with us. We raised over $100,000.
That is crazy. Now, where does that money go?
That money goes to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. It is a national organization that has chapters in each state. So it goes towards research, it goes towards advocacy, it goes towards events for getting the word out there so people can know that we exist and that there is help. There is hope out there for those that may struggle.
And I think that's one of the most important things about this particular topic is the education piece of it, because there isn't necessarily a drug that you can take in order to be better. You really need to be able to have conversations with people and talk about resources and tell your story. We were talking before we started recording when I was asking both of you if you wanted to share your story at all. And you were talking about, well, my story doesn't really have a lot of impact. And then as you started talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's got like the biggest impact ever, because it's all about prevention. Ideally, that's what you want this walk to do.
Yes. My story is one of having mental health struggles. Every day I have a pill that I take to help me with mental health. I'm very open about that. I see a therapist. I'm very open about that. My household is very open, understanding that mental health is nothing to be looked down upon and is nothing any different than physical health. If there's something wrong with me, I'm going to go to a doctor and get it taken care of. Same thing goes with my mental health. So many, many years ago, in 2006, I was in a very, very low spot. I was in a bad relationship, all of the stories that we all hear from everyone. At that particular time, I was not taking care of myself like I needed to, and I found myself having these thoughts of taking my life, and I had a plan. And I got to the day that I decided that I was going to do that, and I realized that I couldn't do that because I had a young child, and I couldn't leave my kid. So that was what stopped me, and what really stopped me completely, to put the brakes on and say, I need to take care of this, because I was a lot further down that road and I had held it all to myself.
That was the point. You reached that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of when we talk about this prevention and we talk about just being able to tell your story, people need to hear those stories.
They do.
Because you don't know where somebody sitting here within listening distance of us at the espresso bar could be in that same point. And hearing you realize and know that it can be done, you don't have to go to that extreme, is so crazy beneficial.
Patricia and I actually talk about that a lot when we plan events and we plan to be at different things in the community. We'll set up a table pretty much anywhere to just to spread the information and let people know that there is somebody you can talk to. One of our big things we talk about is we don't tend to say no until we get all the information. We have had to say no to a few things, conflicts, whatever the case may be, but we're real big on if there's one person. And we've had those stories this year. We have those stories repeatedly of one person saying, I didn't know that you did this. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that you had this resource. I'm so glad to see that you're here, and that's what matters.
I hear that a lot when I have conversations with Rusty Holland from Concern Hotline.
Yes.
And he has taught me over the years about and I forget the phrase that he uses, but you listen for listening cues, that people will use certain phrases and they'll say certain things that trigger in someone who's trained to understand and know, even if that person doesn't even realize themselves, that that's where their mind is going. And having walks like this where everybody can come together, you can be in a setting where it's supportive.
Yes. My story with joining AFSP in 2020, the first walk that I was part of ended up being virtual because of everything in 2020. I had been to the walk before in 2019 because I have a family member who attempted in 2018 and still dealing with struggles, and I have personal struggles too since I was a teenager, but I needed to find a way to help and find a way to let other people know what is out there for them, because I didn't want another person going through what we went through when everything happened. That's why it became so important to me.
And that's an important point, because so many times we think of the person that it's directly affecting, and we don't necessarily think about how that ripples out to brothers and sisters and moms and dads and all aunts and uncles and grandparents. And a lot of times they're the ones that they're not really sure, are they allowed to ask for help or to get those resources? And coming to an event like this, everybody can come and everybody can have that conversation with anybody else that's there.
It's a hard topic. We get that it's a hard topic. We know that when you hear that we're talking about suicide, immediately everyone, you cringe. Yeah, you don't talk about this stuff. You don't want to talk about those things, but we don't talk about it in that way. We talk about it from the hope standpoint of we are here to give this information, to be there for one another. I'm not a hugging type person. I'm not going to hug. I don't hug people I like, let alone strangers. But every year at this walk, I end up hugging people. Because
you get your hug quota in.
I get it all done in that morning. I just feel like there are people there every time that I'm so glad that I came to this, because we try to celebrate the life of those that may not be with us anymore, or those of us like ourselves who have struggled with our own mental health issues. And it's just being able to take the lid off of that and say, it is okay to talk about these things. And it's okay to celebrate the person that you've lost as someone that was here, and we are going to say their name. And we are going to speak to them. And one of the things we do at the walk is we have signs along the path when you go into the park that are loved ones that have been lost. Every single face that you see, every name that you see, we ask you to take a second, acknowledge them, but also know that their family, their loved ones could be right there beside you walking, because that's how we get those names and those pictures. Every year we have a few more that'll come into us, unfortunately, and we get those added to the walk. And then the families can see and speak to their loved ones, so to speak, in that way.
I remember one of the very first conversations that I had with Winter, and I was asking her, so why is this something you chose to get involved in? And she was telling me the story of her son, and she was talking about how she had gone to one of these events, I think in the city, in Northern Virginia somewhere. She went thinking she was going to be the only mother there that had lost a child to suicide. And so the beads, we talked a few minutes about the different colored beads, and then when she gets there and she's looking around at all of these other people that have the same color beads on that she was wearing, it suddenly just lifted this weight that I don't even think realized she'd been carrying around with her.
Yeah.
That's another part of the goal for this event.
And you really do see that. You'll see people that are wearing the same ones you're wearing, and people will come because they're on teams that are named after their family members, things like that. They'll be wearing pictures on their shirts of their family members, and you'll be able to see that camaraderie of, oh, I'm wearing teal beads, you're wearing teal beads. Oh, okay, there's a connection there that we both know. Now, you're not necessarily going to have somebody come walking up to you and say, so, I see that you're wearing the same color. They're not going to do that per se, but there is something in just the silent notice of I'm not alone.
When we talk about the beads, they're there when you come in. After you've registered, there's a table. Remind me how that works logistically.
Yes, once you get registered for the walk, if you've already registered, you don't need to stop at the table and re-register or anything like that. But once you get into where the walk is, so into the football stadium, you're going to just see all of the things. One of the things that is going to be there pretty predominantly when you walk in is going to be an area where the beads are set up. We have volunteers that'll be there to help you. There's signs that will show what colors and what the significance of those colors are, and you can walk up to them and tell them what beads you're looking for, and they're going to help you get those beads. That's one of those places we are very aware of who we allow to volunteer at that spot,
right?
Because of what they're dealing with. And that's one of those spots where there could be hugs being shared, there can be tears being shared, all of those things right there. So we do have that predominant when you walk in. It is a little overwhelming sometimes when you first get there if the crowds are already there, because there's a lot of vendors there, there's a lot of stuff that is
registering in advance is much better
for sure
than showing up that day. Not that you can't, but yes, if you can get all that taken care of ahead of time, then you can breeze right on through and get into the thick of everything.
And there's no fee to register, so registration is free. You can come to the event. You don't have to register and then go out and do a 5-minute mile. We're not looking for that at all. If you register in advance, you can do that online. That way you don't have to worry about standing in a line that morning, any of those things. If you choose to fundraise, of course, part of this also is for the fundraising aspect of it. If you raise $150, then you're going to get a free walk t-shirt. And for most people, and about a day or two beforehand, we have to cut that off. So if you raise $150 on Friday before the walk, I may not have a t-shirt for you. But you're going to get your t-shirt. Patricia and I are going to reach out and be like, where can we meet you? Where can we get you your shirt?
Much like I had my Day of Caring t-shirt just delivered to me a few minutes ago from
exactly
United
like that. Yep. We will make it work. So yes, registering in advance would be.
And what is the web address? What is the easiest way to do that registration in advance?
It is going to be church.org/Stevens City.
So before we go to break, what are the color beads and what do they stand for?
There's actually 9 different colors of beads. White stands for the loss of a child. Red is the loss of a partner or a spouse. Gold is the loss of a parent. Orange is the loss of a sibling. Purple is the loss of a relative or friend. Silver is the loss of a first responder or military. Green is with your own personal struggles or an attempt. Teal means that you're supporting someone who's struggling or attempting. And blue is just that you support the prevention. And we actually have one more that is rainbow for LGBTQ.
I think that is fantastic. And the reason I wanted to make sure we did that before we went to break is that I want people to understand the diversity.
Yeah.
The number of people out there, again, it goes back to who's impacted by suicide, and it could be any one of those people.
Well, like
and
the
those
loved
beads,
ones.
right?
That could be a cousin, that could be your best friend, that could be anybody.
So let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk about that fundraising aspect, what that looks like, because we're recording a few weeks before the event actually happens. So there is still time to put together a team, to do all of those things. Can we get in the weeds on that in the next segment?
Sure can.
We are recording today at the Espresso Bar. We're sitting out front today, not in the secret garden because it's not a secret anymore. And it was packed back there. Patricia Brewer is here with me along with Mandy Foxley. They are both co-chairs of the Out of the Darkness Community Walk. It's happening on Saturday, October 11th at Sharando Park. Of course, it is for suicide prevention. We're going to talk more about that when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are sitting today at the Espresso Bar, sitting out front on the Old Town Walking Mall in downtown Winchester. Patricia Brewer is here with me along with Mandy Foxley. They are both co-chairs of the Out of the Darkness Community Walk. It is happening in Stevens City Saturday, October 11th at Sharando Park. And I want to make sure that we clarify, Mandy, when we say that this is the Stevens City Walk, it's not just for Stevens City or even just for Frederick County. You've got a pretty wide swath of land that you cover.
Yes, it is 4 counties and the city of Winchester. What we cover is where our hope sign goes to. So where it is going to go is where we're going to go. We don't limit it. We're not going to necessarily take it into DC, but we are going to take it. If somebody wants that sign in their front yard, we're going to make sure it gets there, and then we're going to make sure we're spreading the word that they can come to Stevens City to come to the walk there, that it is not just a Frederick County thing or something special at the park or the high school. It's not limited to just there.
And I asked you, Patricia, right before we started recording again, if you knew where it was going to be the week that this show is airing, and it's in Newmarket, so it's not even here in Winchester City or Frederick County.
Right. It is going to be at the Reformation Lutheran Church on Route 11 toward the middle of Newmarket. It's going to be there for a week. It's been to City National branches. It's been to Navy Federal, the Winchester campus. It's going to be at the walk itself.
It'll find its way back to Stevens City for the walk. And you encourage people that if they see it to stop. Take a photo of it with themselves, because you want to see that they're spreading hope, but they spread hope by posting that photo on social media, even to someone that they may not know even needs it at that point in their life.
It's designed over the love signs that are all over Virginia. Ours is a little smaller, but really not that much smaller than some of the signs.
I've heard what it takes to move that thing, so it's not as small as
it still takes a big piece of equipment to get it moved around, but it is movable. So we do make sure that we get it out there and people see it. We try to get it to locations when there may be an event. So if you have an event that you would like to have the sign there for, we will do our best to deliver it so you have it there for that event. So we were able to do that at the Student Union in Front Royal. They had an event and had the sign in their front yard for that. We were able to coordinate that so they had it there that day. So then they were able to incorporate that a little bit into their event so people were able to see that we have a sign there that talks about the walk. So it's like, hey, there's this thing that we'd love for you to scan this QR code so you can get to the website so you can see that.
So let's talk for a minute about putting together a team, because that's the ideal situation from a fundraising perspective, at least, is you want someone to grab 3 or 4 of their friends, 10 or 12 of their friends, and say, hey, let's all get together, let's raise money, and let's go that day and do this walk in support of whomever or whatever. How difficult is it to set up a team?
Just go to that website, afsp.org/Stephen City, and register for the walk. And when you register for the walk, you can also start a team. So your team members can then register underneath the team that you started. We have several folks that'll do matching t-shirts, either with names on them or just matching t-shirts in different ways. They can do different fundraising. We've had fundraising events that the teams do where they'll do like silent auctions. We had a yard sale. We had a motorcycle poker run. We've had all kinds of different things like that the teams will do, that if we know that they're doing it, we will try to support them the best way we can, because it is helping us in the end as well.
It's still fundraising, but it's the literal fun of fundraising.
It is. It really is, yeah.
And then if you raise $150 or more, you get your own t-shirt.
Right. You get a walk shirt for $150. If you raise more than that, $250 is the next level, and you actually get to pick. There's 3 different options. You get to pick what you get, and then it goes up from there. So if you want to raise a whole bunch, we're going to give you something as a thank you. One of the things that you can get, and I don't remember the numbers, is a Keurig.
Oh.
It's branded.
See, it's like you know me. It's like you know who I am.
We may have talked about that a little bit before we started recording, yeah.
The thing that I really have always appreciated about how the teams are structured, how this fundraising is structured, is I am of an age, of a generation that is used to doing these walks where you would get people to sponsor you for how many miles you could walk. And this is very reminiscent of that, because you can put this team together and then they go out to their networks. They go to work. They go to church. Then they say, hey, I'm participating in this walk and I'd really like for you to sponsor me $1, $10, $100. But the perk to that is then people are like, the what? I didn't know they had that. What is that for? And again, now you're spreading the information and getting that education out there.
Social media makes that so much
Right?
nicer in today's world. I'm going to admit something. In all of the work that we have done since the spring for the walk, I thought I had registered myself for the walk until Patricia called it to my attention a few weeks ago that I had not actually registered myself for the walk. So with my head down a little bit of the, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that, I registered myself and actually put it on social media and owned it and said to my people on social media, I cannot believe I've done this. We are 7 weeks out for the walk. Will you donate $7 to help me fundraise for
And that's
this?
so simple and easy. And so many people, and I get this a lot from my work with United Way. People will say, yeah, but what's $7 going to do? $7 isn't going to help you. $7 is going to do tremendous work when you multiply that times 10 other people or 100 other people also giving $7. And that's what this is built on. That's the foundation of things like this, these types of fundraising events.
Yeah, very much so. And my $7, just so you know, so far I'm at about $212 from asking for $7 for people.
You're going to level up.
I'm hoping to level up, yeah.
So we do all of that because we've registered. We come to the event that day on Saturday, October 11th. We breeze through the gate. Paint me a picture, Patricia. What am I going to see there in the football stadium at Sharando High School?
You're going to see vendors like Procter & Gamble will have a table there. Target's going to have a table there with different things that they've agreed to bring. Navy Federal also. You're going to see the Glimmer Station, which is, I'm not sure how to explain it, but
Nobody is. Winter always struggled to explain it because she said you just got to be there.
It's just fun.
it's fun. There's going to be somebody there doing fairy hair, where they put the, I guess, tinsel or whatever it is into your hair. She's going to be there, weather permitting. We're going to have a flyover again this year. Last year we had it for the 10th anniversary. He's agreed to do it, but of course the weather may
Right.
not allow it. We hope that it will. We're going to have that at 10 o'clock, and we're going to have an opening ceremony. We have Barry Lee as our MC. He's going to be going through all different things with us, talking about the walk, about AFSP. We, of course, have the walk, and we have a closing ceremony also. And during the ceremonies, we have what is called the sand ceremony. And we have people who have volunteered to pour the different colors of sand, which Mandy went over earlier. The different beads match up with the sand. And we have representatives who are going to be pouring different colors that mean something to them, to show that we're here to support whoever needs us. We're here to make sure they have the information they need to find the help, or even just if people share it on the social media, just to get the word out. There is help out there. And that's been my biggest thing. I've been doing it every year with my different social media. I just make sure people know the walk is there. If they aren't quite ready to come, they could still have the resources. We can make sure they can find them.
Mindy, we talked about that a little bit during the break, is you can come to this event with no intention whatsoever of walking. But you are concerned about a family member that you think may be struggling. You could be struggling yourself. You could have lost someone this past year or 10 years ago and still be struggling with that loss. Come and talk to the people that are set up there, because you're going to have some professionals there that are going to be able to really give some resources and maybe some relief to people that are attending.
We have businesses that will be there. We have community organizations that will be there. We also will have professionals. We will have mental health professionals that will be there as well. Each one of them is going to have a table space. They're all going to have resources that are going to be available for you. We will have resources there as well. So if it is a case of, oh gosh, well, I didn't know that that was a sign, or nobody knows that I'm struggling with this right now, you can at least get the resources. We're not necessarily going to have counseling sessions happening on the football, but we can get you connected to the resources to know that things like that 988 number do exist, and those are out there for you.
This is a family-friendly event.
Yes.
It's a very low barrier way for parents to be able to bring their children, middle school and teenagers in particular, because I know those numbers have sadly been on the rise, to be able to come to an event like this. If the parent is just not sure, how do I start this conversation, or what do I say to my kid without maybe having triggered them in some way, this is a great way to take them to the event, because it's fun and it's a great thing to be able to do, and then sneak a little bit of that in on the backside.
It's like putting vegetables in food that they can't see.
Exactly.
Yeah, and actually some of our volunteers for the event are teenagers. We have students from high schools that come out and help volunteer at the event. So they are going to see people there that are their age. My daughter has been involved in it. She's a high school graduate. She's 19. She got involved with it with me a few years ago because she was there and saw people she knew. She was stuck with mom, but then she saw kids that she knew, and she's, oh, I'm going to go over there. So she got involved in her own way. I mean, there's something there for everybody.
Winter and I have talked about that in the past too, that there are going to be people that come and participate in this event that are in their teenage years, that are in their 20s, that are in their 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
It really does run the gamut because of how suicide impacts people.
Yeah.
When it happens to them in their families or in their friendships or even with their coworkers. So it's a great way for anybody to come out and know they're not as alone as everyone seems to think they are.
We make it as much of an open door as we can so people can be there and feel like they're belonging there. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter anything. You belong there. Because that's what we're there for, is to make sure that you know that you're not alone in all of this. So we try to make it that, like I said earlier, if you can't walk it, walk the track. That's fine. If you just want to come because you heard that we have apples from the local orchard, we do, by the way. You're welcome to just come and get an apple and kind of hang out with us if that's really what you need for that day. You take from it what you need from it while you're there.
And it's interesting, you were talking before we went to the break about the different color beads, and that the blue is someone who wants to be supportive
Correct.
of the organization. And I would hazard a guess, because I've actually had this conversation with a couple of people, typically right after I do this show every year and it airs, and they're like, I don't know anybody that has ever died by suicide. I'm like, really? Do you know somebody that maybe has attempted and you just didn't know? Do you know somebody that's probably thinking about it right now and you just thought they were moody? And the number of light bulbs that go off. I don't know that there is a single human on this planet that can just be a supporter, because the likelihood that somebody in their circle is in one of those stages is pretty high.
It is very high, yeah. And if you would have asked my family when I was at that point, they wouldn't have told you, oh yeah, we know Mandy's struggling. They wouldn't have said that at all, because I was really good at masking it and not letting anybody know the struggles that I was having. And that's the bad side of
Right?
it. And so many of us will mask those things. But sometimes if we let our guard down, and this is a great place to do that too, because you may not get, like I said, it may not be a professional thing, but if you need a hug, come find me. I'll give you a hug.
And now you know. That's not even something she likes to do. So that is a big offer.
That is a
you're
big
getting
deal.
there.
Correct.
So tell me one more time, what is the web address that people can go get more information?
afsp.org/Stephen City.
I have specifically stayed away from saying what that means because I always get it wrong, and I always depended on Winter to tell me what the name of the organization was. So now I'm going to let Patricia tell us what AFSP stands for.
The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
And you guys have Facebook presence.
Yes.
You have a Facebook page. Do you have an event? Where can people find you on Facebook?
So the walk itself is on Facebook. The same thing. It's going to be Out of the Darkness, Stephen City.
And typically, even if you just type that into the search bar, it's going to
Yeah.
come up, even if that's not the actual name.
Yeah, and then the state of Virginia has a page as well on Facebook.
I would imagine that somebody's going to go to Facebook and they're going to type that in, and then with the list of the results that Facebook sends back, they're going to see a bunch of their friends that either have teams that have created an event or
And you're
have
going to
made
see
posts.
how many, because there's 15 walks across the state of Virginia. So you're going to see how many walks there are. Those walks actually start this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So we're in walk season now with some of our friends in other areas. Will be having their walks on Saturday.
That is crazy. Thank you for meeting me at the Espresso Bar. I know you were traveling from Front Royal, Patricia. You came all the way from Woodstock, but I appreciate you both coming and giving me the details for all of this.
Thank you so much for having us.
Happiness.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley today, a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.